have been eating plant-based all of your life, is that
Yeah,
right?
all my life.
So you don't have any kind of memory at all of eating any other way. And then what about you, Marco? I heard that some in your house that you guys eat plant-based, is that right?
Yes.
So now you're 8. Have you always had just eaten plant-based foods?
When did you start being vegan?
I started being vegan when I was 4 years old.
Okay, so basically, for most of what you can remember, this is the way you've been eating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, do you ever like to cook?
Yes, I sometimes cook with my mom breakfast.
Oh, and what's your favorite thing to cook for breakfast?
I like cooking overnight oats.
That's very good. Sometimes I like to eat the oats because people think that they're raw, but they're not. They're steam rolled. So sometimes I just like to eat them right out of the container, they're like raw or whatever. I just love them that way. So I don't need soak them overnight. Sometimes I'll just eat them like that, and they're really good. Have you ever tried that, either one of you?
We have both tried. It's something we like to call like muesli, where it's oats and it's like the oats itself, and then we put it in milk and just add like fruits, frozen fruits, or just regular fruit. It really doesn't matter.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and you don't have to cook it or wait for it to
Yeah,
get soft or
exactly.
anything. You
It's
just kind of eat
like
it
a
that way.
cereal or granola.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds really good. So, as far as things that happen, like in school, for example, maybe people may have asked you, and I'll ask Shariza first. How has it been in school? Because I'm sure a lot of the people that you are interacting with and socializing with in
Mhm.
school, they are not plant-based. And so how does a day of school look like for you when people are snacking or eating lunch?
Yeah, well, usually I pack my own lunch, and sometimes I'll prep it the night before so I can heat it up in the morning. But I actually have many friends that have converted to a vegan since they've met me, and so it's not really weird or anything because we can share our food and stuff. But other than them, when people are like snacking and normally eating, that's just like their food. They don't really judge me or do anything. I just go on with my day and eat my food in my little spot, and that's I don't because it's nothing weird. It's you're nourishing your body, so
Right. For you, it's normal because you don't
exactly.
really know anything different. And
Yeah.
that's really awesome that um, at such you're not young like you're a little kid, but young compared to a grandma for such a beginning part of your life that you have made such a big change in the world just by influencing some of your friends that they have decided to change over to eating this way. So that's a really big deal, and that's very impressive. Oh,
Thank
we're getting your mom, Evelise, who we had on the show previously. She's kind of adjusting the camera there to show the different ingredients that we're going to be showing. Look, you guys, we're in for a good recipes demo today.
you.
And
Yeah.
I was so surprised because one of the things that we like to do is get the recipes ahead of time
Hmm.
so that I can have it available for people to check out the show notes so that they can see the recipe. And I was so surprised and pleased when your mom didn't just send one recipe, because that's what I was counting on, one recipe. She sent not two, she sent three plant-based recipes that you're going to be making, which is just totally blew me away. And your mom was like, oh, it's no big deal. She does this all the
Yeah.
time.
It
So
is no big
I was
deal.
so yeah, I was so impressed. And in my house, I'll chop things and make salads, but as far as cooking, I'm not really into it because I'm a little intimidated by cooking. And so on my YouTube channel, I have something called Hey, I can make that. And that's my playlist. Hey, I can make that. And anytime it's something that just has a couple of ingredients like what Marco does with the overnight oats or something, anytime it has something like that, that's when I'll say, I'll put it on that playlist and say, now, if I can make it, then anybody can. And
Yeah.
so that's what I was talking to your mom, Evelise, about. I said, this is so great because, when we have you on the show and you're making these it looks like they have a lot of ingredients, but you're going to show us that it's not really so hard to be
Exactly.
placed and to cook.
Yeah.
And, if we don't give these things a try after watching you do it, then that's too bad. Now you're visiting and you're in Marco's house. So have you guys ever cooked anything together before today?
Yeah, we actually have. Sometimes we'll make some of these recipes together. Usually it's my sister cooking, but we have made like breakfasts, like overnight oats, like he said, or just different foods. But yeah, there's no specific recipe. Oh, we did make this one recipe, like tofu cups, a while ago. Not recently,
Oh.
but like, yeah. It's like so scramble. So it's like tofu scramble in a mold, and then you put vegetables in it, like arugula, peas, corn, or different vegetables that you want, like mushrooms, and then you put it in the oven, and it comes out like a little cup.
Oh my goodness, that sounds really good. We might have to have you come back and and bake that for us. So, Marco, when you go to school, do you have any friends that are eating vegan?
No.
Okay, so how does that work out? Like when you bring your own lunch, is that what you usually do?
Yes. And
And so, go
so
ahead.
our school, not all of our kids eat in the cafeteria. So some kids also bring food from their house too.
Right. So for you, it's like, whatever. I bring my food, you bring your food. Maybe my food is vegan, but your food isn't. And how do your friends act when they, especially like when you go to a new grade, I guess that would be the time, right? If you go to a new grade and maybe there's somebody that you haven't met before, how does that work out when you pull out your lunch and then maybe it looks a little different from somebody else's?
Usually they'll just ask what it is, and I would say I'm vegan, and they don't really know what vegan is. So I would
Right.
tell them that I don't eat any dairy or animal products.
Uh-huh. And a lot of adults make a really big deal out of when we because a lot of adults maybe have never eaten this way before and they change over to this vegan plant-based lifestyle and they get so worried about what are my friends going to think and how am I going to socialize and here I think that when you're younger, when you're in school, I think that's the hardest time to make a change because then you're really worried about making friends and who's going to think things about you. And both of you just seem to think like, well, hey, it's no big deal. This is just how I eat. I don't know,
Yeah,
I'm not going
exactly.
to get. So I'm glad that you're saying that and you're so relaxed and thinking, because I think that you're giving the adults a lesson in how
Yeah.
to just be chill, just eat your food, don't worry about what other people are saying. It's okay. You can get through life just fine.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly.
I think that's really cool. So now, I mean, I remember, like I said, I had three young children at one time. They were young, and they would have gymnastics or soccer or some kind of an extracurricular activity. And usually they would ask the parents, "Hey, bring something." And so we weren't plant based back then, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I think now, if I had a family, I would have to think about, okay, first of all, what could I bring to one of those events to bring for all the kids, where people wouldn't be freaked out about it. So let's ask that question. Do you ever have any extracurricular activities, Sheriza, that you have to bring something to?
Yeah, so I actually have done many, many, many sports, but the most recent one that I've done is dance. And my mom, she'll just bring me some food that's just some vegan food. And then actually, some of my friends that aren't vegan, they ask to try it and they like it a lot. So it's nothing weird at all. But when we have to cater for some people, like my mom used to do this thing where she would bring in food and then you like take some if you want some, like a lunch break kind of. And it was like gone. It was all gone in like 30 minutes. So. Yeah. And
Right.
so the kind of things that we brought were like my mom made some summer rolls or maybe some rice. There's always a salad because salad's always good to eat, and maybe some like fruits. But yeah, mostly like the typical stuff just made vegan.
Right. So that's really great because I think that kids sometimes they get so much of this junk food that after a while it's just like, oh, it's just the same old stuff, and it's like, wow, this
Yeah.
is something cool and different. So parents out there that are watching, don't be afraid to when it's your turn to bring something to these events or parties or whatever. It's okay. You can just think of some things like Sheriza had mentioned, and the kids are just going to love it. So,
Yeah.
what about you, Marco? Do you ever have any like extracurricular, like sports or anything like that you do after school that maybe you have to bring a snack?
Yes, we do, and usually my mom also she just brings regular food, just made vegan.
Right. And nobody says anything, right? Everybody's like, I'm hungry. Give me some of that.
Yeah, all my friends like it actually.
Uh-huh. That's wonderful. So you guys are really making a big difference in the world, and you may not even be thinking about it sometimes when you're spreading the delicious food to people, that they can try something different and that it can be healthy and good for the world and the animals and the environment. So
Yeah.
making a big difference, and you've got so many more years ahead of you to do some really incredible things.
What kind of snacks do
Okay.
you guys bring though? Like already prepared stuff that we don't make.
Okay, so some stuff that you mean like bought.
Yeah, like stuff that you buy at the store.
Okay,
Or
some stuff you can buy at the store. There's these kale chips that are actually oil free, and they come in many different flavors. There's that, or there's always there's sushi, veggie sushi, and
the like Lara bars.
oh yeah, right, Lara bars, because those are also vegan and they're actually pretty healthy, like protein bars, and they have also a lot of flavors. But usually you can find, if you look hard enough, you can find some chips, or not really chips, but like veggies that are dehydrated that you can also make at home, which I've done before, and you can just buy those oil free.
Very good, very good. Those are really great suggestions because I think grown-ups just get more uptight about things than kids do. We just overthink everything and we worry so much about everything, and meanwhile it's really not a big deal. So that's a really, really great suggestions. So now you have a friend, Leah. Is she going to be coming on also, or she's busy?
She will be coming soon, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
She should be.
Where was she?
She was actually at soccer practice. Oh, she's
Okay.
right here. She's coming right now.
Okay, no hurry. I didn't want her to be like waiting in the background worrying if she could come on or not. She's welcome whenever she's ready. She's welcome to come and join us. So no rush or anything, but oh, is that her now?
Here she is.
Oh, hello. Welcome, Leah. I'm so glad you joined us. Do you want to tell everybody how old you are, what grade you're in?
I'm 12 and going to 7th grade.
Okay. And you are Marco's sister, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And have you guys all been friends for pretty much your whole lives?
Yes,
Yes.
because our moms are actually best friends since 8th grade.
6th grade.
6th grade. Sorry.
Wow. That's so nice to keep the family and the friendships going. That is really so cool. Well, so now have you also been now you haven't been plant-based all your life if Marco was only plant-based since 4, right? Vegan?
No, I haven't.
So when did you start?
Like when I was 8 years old.
Okay, so you kind of can remember a little bit what it was like when your parents said, "Okay." What happened? How did you find out? How
Well,
did you find out that you weren't going to be eating the food that you usually eat anymore?
they kind of explained to me what being vegan was at first, and then they said that that's what we were going to do. And at first I was just vegetarian because it was elementary school, so like we would give each other treats on people's birthday, and it was a lot of people's birthday at the time, and so I wanted to eat those treats, and so I was vegetarian. And then one day I like got sick because I ate something because I took a break from eating this stuff, and then I ate something that wasn't vegan. I got sick, and I was like, okay, I'll just be vegan now.
Yeah, that happens to a lot of adults too. And yeah, that's something that happens to a lot of adults. They're like, oh my gosh, and you don't realize what the food's doing to your body until you've been away from it for a while, and then you think, oh, I'll just have a little something, and then yeah, it surely comes to get you.
Yeah.
So do you enjoy cooking, or do you just like eating?
I just like eating, but I like cooking like desserts, and that's it.
Oh, desserts. So that's
Yeah.
great. So you got Marco with the breakfast and you do the desserts. That's really nice. Okay. So you guys are going to be cooking a bunch of things today. So Sheriza, can you tell us the first thing that you're going to be making for us?
I'm going to start off with some tofu nuggets, and then we're going to do some French fries, but they are baked and no oil. And then we're going to finish off with a little dessert, which is a berry oatmeal bake.
Wow, we are in for triple treats today.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started with the first meal that you're going to make.
Let me just move this over. Okay, Marco's going to start with this one.
Is that a good shot? Can you see?
Yeah, you can see here. So for this one, Marco's going to start because he did help me make them. And so first, what you're going to need is you need some extra firm tofu, and we got ours from Whole Foods. And you have to drain it. So what you're going to do is you're going to open the package, and then you can just drain the water out. And then after that, once you have drained it and it's all opened up, you can put it on your cutting board, and then you're going to cut it into 4 slices like this, 1, or 4 cuts, 2, 3, and then 4. And then you're going to cut it in half. And then you're going to take it and flip it over like this. And then you're just going to do 1 cut in the middle. And then they should all come out like this in those little nuggets. And then you have to do that to the rest of it. So I'm just going to finish those
So
off.
you didn't have to say, people worry about, I have to press my tofu and get all the liquid out, and they buy these tofu. You don't even have to worry about that, right?
For this one, you actually don't want to, because you're going to be dipping it in the seasoning, and so then you don't have to use milk or water or anything, because it's easier.
Moist.
It's moist already. And so now we're gonna mix together the seasonings,
The breading.
to make the breading. So we have a bowl here. Oh, let me just use this one. Okay, and so here we have 1/4 cup of almond meal or almond flour.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sheriza, if you just let me interrupt you. I want to remind people who are watching, don't worry about the measurements and so forth, because we're going to have the recipe in the show notes for you. So just watch and enjoy. Go ahead.
Okay. And then we're going to add in some breadcrumbs, and then some cornmeal, and some nutritional yeast. And now we're going to add in the spices.
If you can't use the almond flour, you can always use flaxseed as well.
Yeah, or you can use flaxseed. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
And that would be ground flaxseed, right?
Yes, ground flaxseed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to add in some chili powder.
Those are adorable little bowls. Oh my goodness, how cute.
Some paprika.
Smoked paprika.
Smoked paprika.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to add in some salt.
And that's optional?
Yeah.
It's optional.
Right, the salt is optional.
Yes. And then some garlic powder. And now we are going to mix it up. And you want to make sure it all mixes well together, because it needs to be evenly spread throughout. And then in the end, it should.
Can you just tilt that? Sure, yeah. You already knew what to do. That looks good.
And then once you've done this step, let me get this tray over here. And Marco, so you already know how to do it, right? So you have, let me show them first, and then you can continue doing it. So we're gonna start off with our tofu. So you want to have one hand that's for the tofu, which is the wet hand, and then another hand, which is gonna be the dry hand. And so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our tofu, and then we're gonna put it in here. Okay, let me show you a bit. Put it in here, and then I'm gonna switch my hands to my dry hands and just kind of incorporate it with my other hand and make sure I move it around until it's evenly breaded. So here's what it should look like, and then we're just gonna place it on our tray. Now Marco's gonna help
And
me.
what's on the tray?
Oh, make sure you put some parchment paper on the tray, and this helps that you don't need any oil on the actual pan itself, because if you put oil, it defeats the whole purpose. And so that's just another way for it not to stick. Now Marco's gonna help me over here continue.
And you can also use a spoon, right?
Yes, you can also use a spoon. Here you go. Because Marco, he hurt his arm, but you can also use a spoon or your hand. It doesn't matter.
Well, you see, this shows everybody that there's no excuse that you can't cook, because you could even do it with an arm in a cast, and you can still make it work out very well.
Yeah.
And this is going to come out delicious, even though we're not using any oil. A lot of people say, I don't know how to cook without oil. And the cleanup is so much better because you have that parchment paper, or you could use a silicone mat. But either way, it's going to be so much easier to clean up. And that's what I love about this lifestyle. One of the things I like.
And what I was going to say was, I forgot what I was going to say, but I was going to say.
That's okay. You'll
Substitute the salt. You can use.
Oh, yes, that's what I was going to say.
Benson's.
You could use the Benson's, and this is also going to be low sodium because the salt is optional and there's not a lot of salt in it already. So.
Right. And in the recipe, we have information about the Benson's salt substitute, in case nobody knows about it, so that they can look at it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna let Marco finish up here. I'm gonna rinse my hands real quick.
They look terrific. Wow. That just looks really good, Marco. You're doing a great job. I'm very impressed, Marco, because you're just basically doing it with one hand. And so I have this YouTube playlist that says, hey, I can make that, but maybe I should make a special one for Marco that says, hey, I can cook plant-based with one hand behind my back.
Okay, so now while Marco continues, I'm actually going to show you guys the finished product of what it looks like.
So what do you do? How long do you bake them for?
So what you're going to do is you're going to preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you're going to put it in for about 30 minutes, and then they should turn out like this, like a golden brown, crunchy.
Oh, look at that. They look beautiful. They really look delicious. Even just eating that alone, I mean, I could just eat all those up. Wow.
Yeah,
And
these, you can freeze them too.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of batch cooking, so that would be really awesome. And that looks like a really cool thing, like to have at parties, like a little hors d'oeuvre or something that you could have as a tray, and people just eat it that way too. Wow, this is great.
And we also make this homemade barbecue sauce that we do dip. Unfortunately, we're not making it today, but there is a recipe for it, and we do make it, and then we use that for our nuggets.
And homemade ketchup.
And we also do make homemade ketchup as well.
Oh, wow. That's fabulous. Because that's a big thing, I think, for a lot of children is the nuggets. You know, they want those nuggets. I'm not going to say what they're really called. So this would be like a great transition food for for adults too, but especially for kids that say, but I want to go plant-based, but what about my nuggets? And then you can just have that. And even, for a young child, for finger food, this is a great idea.
Yeah, because there's a lot of kids who are picky, and when they see this, they're not going to think like, is this real meat or anything, because it looks like it, and so they're just going to eat it, and they're going to think it's great. So.
Yeah, and I think an important part of it, for parents who are trying to get their children to start this lifestyle, I think an important part of doing it is letting them come in the kitchen and participate and help out as far as making the food. Because do you think that maybe that was something that you enjoyed even when you were much younger, being a part of the kitchen?
always enjoyed it just because I can see what I'm cooking, and it's very interactive, and so I feel like I'm cooking my own food, and it just helped me a lot. Because when I was little, I used to be a lot more picky, but now I eat everything. So
Right. And
yeah,
that's the thing, there's a lot when you are trying to get your child to eat plant-based. Sometimes it may not be the exact thing that they don't want to have that particular food. It may be that they just haven't had it prepared in a way that they like, or it
yeah,
might be the texture, because maybe you want them to eat tofu and maybe you might try to have them eat these tofu nuggets and maybe at first they don't like them, but
yeah,
then you could take the tofu and put it in a blender and make it into some kind of a sauce, and they might like that. And meanwhile, they're eating tofu, but they don't think that they are. But
exactly.
sometimes it might take you a few times. Do you think it might take somebody a few tastes of the same thing in order for them to eventually decide they like it?
I think that would, yeah, I think 100%, because you can't just judge something based on the first taste because it could be made many different ways that you don't even know about yet.
So, Marco, is this something that you have eaten before, these tofu nuggets?
Yes, my mom makes them a lot when I'm eating food for lunch.
Oh, that would make a good lunch. A lot of parents, they say, I don't know what to pack my kid for lunch. And I bet if somebody brought that to school, other people would say, hey, do you have enough that maybe I can try one? I think I would want to.
Actually, like make these into like maybe like a sandwich. Like you can have bread and put these in as like I don't want to say meat, like the protein.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with some
That's a good
lettuce.
idea.
Yeah.
You can cut
See,
it.
so there's so many ways to eat that. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
exactly. And so we actually finished breading. So this is what it should look like. Oops, sorry. Before you put it in the oven, this is what it's gonna look like. And I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven real quick. Yeah, can you put this in the oven? Thank you. And
He's
now,
okay.
yeah, now I'm gonna make the baked potato, the French fries. And so we already have our potatoes cut here and boiled, and I'm gonna explain that in 1 second. But since we don't have a potato here to cut, I'm just gonna explain how to cut. So usually you would cut it in half, and then once you have the potato in half, you put the flat side. Make sure it's the flat side because if it's not, you could accidentally cut yourself. You want to have it on a flat surface. And so once it's on the flat side, you can go ahead and start cutting it on the sides and in the middle, and then just keep going like that until you get the size you desire. You can make them wider or skinnier. It doesn't really matter, however you want. But if you do make them wider, you're going to want to boil them longer, and you are going to want to put them in the oven longer so they can cook all the way through.
How long do you boil them for?
I'd say if they're thicker, 5 minutes, and if they're like these, which we have them today, we did these only for 2 minutes and they were ready.
That's great. I have heard that the French fries and other things taste better if you cook the potatoes ahead of time and maybe keep them in the refrigerator for a few hours. And because as far as the chemicals go and the starches in the potato, that things change. And then that way, after you cook them, they taste even better. And also, they're supposed to not have as much of the insulin spike if you refrigerate them. I learned that from dietitian Brenda Davis.
Yeah, we did boil them a couple hours ahead of time because we do like them cooked before. And so here's them already cut and boiled. They do look like the French fry shape.
Do you also do this with other root vegetables?
Yeah, we do it with, I don't know if some of you guys have heard of it, but it's called malanga and yuca. And we can also do, I'm pretty sure, and you can do plantains as well. We do that, and we do the same exact process, and they turn out great.
Now, I heard of yucca and I've even tasted it. Now, what was the other one that you said again?
It's called malanga,
Like taro root.
like taro root.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
So now we're just gonna go ahead and add in here I have a little bit. So I mixed in salt, pepper, and garlic, and then I'm just gonna sprinkle it in and then mix it together. So I'm just gonna.
Right. And we have in the recipe that if you didn't want to use the salt, we have a salt substitute recommendation for you in the recipe.
You can also add curry.
You could also add curry powder or onion powder or smoked paprika. Really, it's however you want it, however you want it to taste. In this case, we're just doing some simple ingredients, just salt, garlic, and pepper. And you want to make sure for us at least, we like to add a little bit more garlic than salt because we don't want them to be salty. We want them to have more of like a garlicky, peppery taste.
Now, do you use garlic powder? Is that the kind of garlic that you use?
Yes, we do use garlic powder, or in other recipes we do use like fresh garlic. But here, this is garlic powder.
Right. We had a Chef Ramses Bravo. He's from True North, and he came on one time, and he talked about and you may not have seen this, but I'm just telling it for the audience. It's something called granulated garlic, which is a little different than garlic powder. It looks about the same, but he thinks that when you cook with it, it just tastes better, and if you cook in a high heat, that it wouldn't burn as well. Have you ever used granulated garlic?
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. We do use it a lot. We just didn't use it for this recipe, but we do
Right.
as well. Yeah.
But that's what's great about your recipe, because it's flexible. You don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Okay, so now we're going to have Leah over here. She's going to go ahead and put these on this pan. So let me
Spread them out.
spread them out. Here, Marco, can you scoot over a bit? Come here, Leah. So you can either use your hands or you can use some tongs. She's going to go ahead and use some tongs, and she's going to spread them out all over the tray. And while she does that, I'm going to go wash my hands real quick and show you guys the finished products.
These recipes are so great because it looks like if you just wanted to have your kids participate in the kitchen with you, they could do it. And maybe if you didn't want them to use a sharp knife, you could do the cutting part. But otherwise, It looks like these are things that they could just do. And again, you have lined your tray with parchment paper. So here we are, not cooking with oil, and we don't have to worry about things sticking. And it's going to be an easier cleanup too, which I like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I forgot to mention that when you're putting them in the oven, preheat the oven to 425 as well. And then these, you're going to want to cook to 35 to 40 minutes. And if they're thicker, I would say make it a bit longer if you want them crunchier. But
do you ever go and open up the oven in the middle of the cooking cycle and flip them over or turn them over or anything?
No, we don't. We don't do that.
I like that.
If it's convection, yeah.
And you don't want to
I like
stack them.
Yeah, you make sure they're not stacked. You want to spread them out evenly. So over here a bit.
Yeah, that's a little harder to do with the tongs, but that's great. They look so delicious. They really do. And these are the things that I guess kids who are eating the standard American diet, they're used to the nuggets and they're used to the fries, but that's not a problem. You can make it this way and it's going to be great. And there's enough food for everybody, and you can eat as much as you want and not have to worry. If you're watching your waistline, you could just eat as much as you want and still comfortably full.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that when you are cutting the potatoes, I forgot to say this, make sure you do leave on the peel because that is the most nutritious part of the potato. And so we leave the peel on for all of them. We don't peel the potatoes.
Yes, I agree. I always leave the peel on my potato as well. And it makes it kind of look a little colorful too.
Exactly. And over here, we have the finished product of the potatoes.
Oh, look at that. Oh.
You can make them crunchier, but in this case, we just did some like golden brown.
Right. Yeah, just depending on what the person. Yeah, I think you have one that's really a lot more cooked than you can see that might be how you might make it if you wanted it to be. Yeah, you can make it either way, just depending on what you liked.
Yeah.
Wow. So I would have to have like more than one tray because I'd probably eat the one tray by myself. I'd have to make a few trays so that if other people were going to eat it.
We make a lot of trays. We're going to put this in the oven so you guys can do as well. And now we are going to finish off with our dessert, which is going to be the berry oatmeal bake. And let me just move this to the side over here. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to mix it on this bowl. That's okay. So we're going to start off with our oats. So these are rolled oats. I'm just going to put them in the bowl. And then we're going to add in we're going to add in the crushed pineapple. And
Now,
And
this is something that you just bought that in the store and it was just in water, crushed pineapple?
yeah, like frozen crushed pineapple.
Oh, frozen.
And
Okay.
then you defrost it and then you put it in. And now we're gonna add in chopped walnuts. This is optional. And some vanilla extract. And then you wanna add in the strawberries, Marco? So he's now gonna add in the strawberries. These are frozen strawberries. And we let them sit for a while, but you don't have to because in the oven they're actually gonna cook and all the juice is gonna release itself. And so now we're gonna add in some apple juice.
Purely pressed right now.
Yes, let me get this to you.
Wow, that looks great. And this recipe seems like so much fun and so like a hey, I can make that. Another recipe, hey, I can make that because you
Yeah,
just basically have some frozen things and things in packages and you just kind of dump them all together and
yeah, exactly.
And if you
yeah.
can't find the crushed pineapple, you buy the chunks, right? And
Mhm.
what else? What do you do?
So if you can't find the crushed pineapple, you can buy the chunks that are frozen, and then you can either, I would say, put them in a food processor, or if you really want to go the complicated route, you can crush them yourself. But food processor is definitely what I would say works best. And now I'm just gonna spread out these strawberries so they are evenly spread throughout. And then this is what it should look like before it's cooked.
And you didn't put anything in the bottom of this pan, right? You just put it
Nothing.
right in the yeah.
Yeah, you don't even need parchment paper or anything because of the apple juice and everything.
You want to let
Oh,
it.
the moisture.
Yeah. And you want to let it cool a bit before you actually serve it. And so let me show the finished product here. Leah, can you go put this?
Hold on a second, Mom.
I know. Okay, let me just grab this. So this one is actually pretty fresh. It's a bit hot still. We are letting it cool, but here is what it should look like afterwards.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
That looks really good.
Yeah, it tastes really good as well. I can't wait to eat it later.
I bet when it's baking, you can just smell all that aroma in the house.
All of the fruits from here right now because we're so close up. But even when you're baking it, like the whole kitchen just smells like it.
Yep.
So that's the end of our 3 recipes.
Okay, and once again, tell us what you made and point to them so we
Okay,
can remember.
so what we made today was some tofu nuggets. And then, oh, I forgot to mention, these are all actually gluten-free because I am gluten-free myself. And these are made with the gluten-free breadcrumbs. If you aren't gluten-free and you want to do regular breadcrumbs, you can, but I tried to mention these are all gluten-free for those who are gluten-free. And so here we have our tofu nuggets. And then we made some baked French fries. And then our berry oatmeal bake as a dessert.
That is so awesome. You made it look so easy. And I hope that everybody that's watching is going to be encouraged by that to say that, hey, I can make that.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, are there other children in the house today?
Not right now. There isn't, but usually all of us are here together, like my sister. Unfortunately, we couldn't have Ciara with us on this trip because she is doing her shows for her job. But she's not here today. But
right. But I bet between the 3 of you, you could eat all that easily.
Yeah.
And not. Well, that's wonderful. So I was, Leah, I was talking about school, and I wanted to ask you as far as what do you bring for lunch when you go to school?
When I was in elementary school, every single day I would bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But now, I don't really bring like big meals. I usually bring like a bagel with vegan cream cheese on it, or grilled cheese. Like it's like vegan cheese that you put on bread. And sometimes I have pasta.
Well, that's great.
Vegetables in the pasta, and she incorporates it also. So she has some kind of vegetable in there. And you can also make like homemade cheeses for your grilled cheeses, or there's actually this one brand if you want to have cream cheese. It's called Kite Hill, and they do have oil-free cream cheese that is vegan if you ever are interested in that.
Yeah, I saw that brand online, and I thought that's fantastic because that was one that I'm sugar, oil, and salt free, so I'm pretty picky about things if I buy that I'm not making it at home. And when I saw that brand, I thought that was a pretty good one. So as so, what do you usually? I'm going to ask Shariza, what do you usually like to eat for like your favorite meal? What's your favorite meal that you would like
Favorite
to eat?
meal? I would probably have to say, so there's this dish we make, and it's actually a Puerto Rican dish, and it's called pastelon, and it's plantains, and then usually traditionally it's some kind of meat in the middle, and then plantain again, and then some breadcrumbs. What we do is we use something called soy curls, where it's dehydrated soy that isn't processed or anything. Like it's just 100% soy dehydrated straight from the bean. And then you hydrate it in water and you chop it up and you put whatever seasoning you want. And we make that kind of like ground meat. And we put that in there, and then we add vegetables or whatever we want in there. And then we just go ahead and put the plantain and the
And it's rice
breadcrumbs.
plantain.
Oh, and it's red plantain, just to mention. Sorry about that. But it is really good. That's my favorite dish by far.
Oh, wow. That's great. So people that think that if they convert over this lifestyle that they're going to have to just eat carrot sticks and celery sticks and I think that's what they think
That's
that
definitely
you have
not
to
how
eat.
it is, though.
So you get a lot of variety. Okay, I think that we have some questions. So let's see what questions that we have. Jessie T, what are your favorite birthday party treats? So, Shariza, do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay, so some of my favorite birthday party treats are we can make homemade ice creams like sorbets with fruits, and you don't have to add any sugar. You could add water or maybe milk, but you can make sorbets. And we also make like there's you can make brownies. There's a recipe where it's like a black bean brownie where you could do that. Or there's cakes like carrot cakes where we do make also with the Kaiho cream cheese, and you make a cream cheese sauce. And and the dates could be a sweetener if you want to make it sweeter. We can use dates or occasionally coconut sugar, but mainly dates because it's much more natural.
So, Marco, do you have anything that you like to have for birthday party?
I would have to say I love the vegan cookies.
Okay, so is that something that your mom gets at the store?
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you
Okay.
could, but you could also make them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, when it's a birthday party, it's going to be a special treat, and
Exactly.
sometimes it could be something that comes from the store. That's okay. Sometimes you just want to have a quick treat. And Leah, do you have anything that you like for a birthday party?
Yeah, I like the black bean brownies too. But also there's these cookies my mom made that they're like vegan sugar cookies and they're really good too.
Now,
So
do you have a birthday coming up, Leah? Is that
yeah,
right?
in like 3 months.
Oh, okay, 3 months. Okay. All right, let's see our next question. Okay, I didn't know. I thought maybe you might have another question. So, as far as, do you think that what would you say to a kid that was just starting out, like their parents just said, guess what? You're not going to eat the standard American diet anymore. You're eating vegan. And what would you say to that kid to think about when they're trying to understand what their parents are doing, maybe to make them feel more comfortable about the change?
I would definitely say go into it with an open mind because you never know what you're gonna like. You're obviously gonna be transferring from like eating meat and dairy, and you're not gonna be eating that anymore. So you really have to go in thinking like, okay, maybe I'll like this, maybe I won't. But you also have to, I would say, that try to get in the kitchen as much as possible, just so you can know what you're eating and you can know how to make it for yourself, so that when you go off, that you know how to do it. Because if you don't, then it might be a little hard, but you can still do it.
That's good advice. So what
Yeah.
about you, Marco? If somebody that's a kid said, "Oh, my parents just told me I have to eat this way and I'm really worried about it." What would you tell them?
I would just tell them be brave, and you never know how good it's gonna be.
Perfect.
You know, Marco, you can teach a lot of adults a good lesson. We should just have that as a snippet so that anybody who's afraid to do this will just play that right there. And what about you, Leah? What would you tell somebody that was just found out that they were going to eat this way? Their parents told them, and they're kind of worried about it.
Well, you definitely get stronger, like if you play a sport or something. Like I play soccer. I'm pretty sure I'm faster now than I was before because I'm vegan. And also, like anything that's not vegan, you can make it vegan. So, and they'll just be healthier, and they'll just taste almost exactly the same, but like vegan.
Yeah. Like, because I feel like when you're doing sports and you're eating vegan, it gives you more energy because you're getting it from plants and natural ingredients instead of processed foods. Like, you're not going to get anything from a Gatorade.
Yeah.
That's you all came up with different points of views and different kinds of things to think about, and that was really very impressive. And I think there's a lot of parents out there that maybe they're embracing this lifestyle or thinking about it, and then they're kind of worried, oh, what about the children? And sometimes parents are worried what their mom and dad are going to tell them if they tell their parents that their kids are now going to be eating this way, because so many people think that your child can't be healthy because they're growing. How could they grow well and thrive and be healthy if you change them over to this lifestyle? And here we see you guys who, I mean, you're still growing, right?
Yeah.
And you've been eating like this for so long, and it doesn't look like it, you know, it hurt you anyway. You look probably healthier and better than the average kids do that are eating all the foods that are in the standard American diet.
Yeah, and I actually have this friend who, when she went vegan, her mom was like, you're not going to be able to go vegan because you're not going to get your protein. So she's like, you have to eat egg and you have to eat this. And I was like, explaining to her that you don't have to, because you get all your proteins. Like, where are you going to get your protein from? Well, there's beans, there's nuts, there's oats, there's so many different foods. There's like, everything gives you some type of protein. And so that's just, some people just don't understand that you are getting protein from every single thing you eat.
Right.
Yeah, plants.
That's just eat plants, right? Just like some of the animals, like cows, they don't eat any meats, but they have plenty of protein and they're pretty big and strong. And all of you participate in some kind of sports. So here you are, you're eating just plant-based foods, and it seems like you can participate in your competitive sports and in your fun sports and you dance and all the different things that you do, and you still seem like you have enough energy and you still look like you're, you know, growing appropriately for your ages. And it's I think it makes you guys smart too.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Because you can think like with a clear mindset.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe that's why some of your friends that you've been able to talk them into it, because they probably look at you guys and admire how you look and how you seem like you function every day, and maybe that's why that they're willing to do that. So that's interesting that you went and told a mom we're going to get protein. That's pretty awesome. Let's see if we have another question. Gina said, I'm 15 and want to try to eat plant-based. I really like ice cream. Is there a plant-based ice cream you can buy or make?
Yes, 100%. So you can either buy, if you really want to buy it, you can buy, try to find like that ice cream that's made from almond milk or oat milk or soy milk. I'd say those are the three best ones, because coconut milk has a lot of fats and oils. Although it's vegan and it is plant-based, it's a fattier ice cream. So I would say go for those. And if you're gonna make it at home, you can actually make it with fruits. So let me give you an example. You can take like bananas and some mangoes and you put them in like the blender, and then you can add in some milk, and you're just gonna blend it up and make sure it's all incorporated together, and then you're gonna put it in a bowl in the freezer. I would probably say overnight is the best. And then in the next day when you're gonna eat it, you just scoop it out like it's ice cream, and that's how it's done.
Chocolate.
Oh, there's also
Wow.
chocolate you can make with bananas as well, like the cocoa powder or you can use chocolate chips if you want to.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the chocolate. I
Yeah.
use the cocoa powder or the cacao with the bananas, and I actually eat it every night. So what I like to do is put it in an ice pop mold so that I can just go in the freezer and grab one. Do you ever guys ever have those ice pops made out of ice cream or?
Yes, we do. And there's also this one brand that I forgot to mention. It's called Chloe's Pops, and they are actually sugar. They're low sugar, right? And they're vegan and plant based, and they're made from all natural ingredients. Like they have a chocolate one, and they have a bunch of other flavors, those are also really good. They're called Chloe's Pops.
And you can make them.
Okay.
You can make them too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions. Henry wants to know what do you eat in a day? So we kind of talked about it a little bit. Who wants to add in something that they eat?
A simple menu for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay, so let's say breakfast. We're gonna start off with maybe some pancakes that can be made from oat flour and milk and a bunch of other ingredients to make it better. Or you can make French toast as well. And then later on during the lunch, I can make either a pasta, a rice, maybe a more complicated dish, maybe even one I cooked here, some tofu nuggets, some French fries, or really like that. And then for dinner, we like to have, like yesterday, we had a Korean bowl, and we made it with tofu and then with like a vinegar sauce and a bunch of rice and some arugula on the bottom. And then for dessert, like I said, you could have the berry bake, or you could have a pops you made, or you can even have fruit for dessert because it's a sweet treat, but it's a more natural one. And so that's what I would say I eat in a day, basically.
Right, and you're not hungry, right? If you
No.
want to eat something, you just eat, and you don't worry about it. You
A
just
snack, something I can just take a fruit, a vegetable, or maybe even like I'd say these are more like snack foods for me personally because I like to eat a bunch. I eat a lot, so.
okay. So teenage girls, if you want to have a nice figure, you can eat a lot. Just have to eat the right foods, right?
Don't worry about how much you're eating. Like it's good for you and it's gonna help you. I'm gonna say you're not gonna gain bad weight from this. That's what I would say personally. And so don't worry about it because it's good for you. It makes you strong. So
Well, that's really great. Let's see if we have another question. Kimberly, do you exercise? If so, what do you do and how often? So, I mean, exercise can be anything, right? Doesn't mean that you're on a treadmill. So, what do you do to
So
exercise?
me personally, I dance, and then I like to when on the days I'm not dancing, or even the days I do dance when I come home, I like to go on YouTube and just find a bunch of exercises that are good for my legs and my abs, and I also like to do like maybe weights and stuff. But that's where I like to focus, and I do exercise. So maybe I'd say every day, but I like to do exercise quite often. Oh, and I also walk my dogs every day because I have 3 dogs, and so you can walk your dogs too. I like to walk for like an hour or so, 45 minutes. That can also help.
Okay, and Leah, what do you like to do to be active?
I also walk my dogs, and I was gonna say that, but I play soccer like every day, so I do that a lot, and then yeah, that's it.
That's great.
Guys are Sheriza on
Yeah.
FaceTime.
Yeah. And how about you, Marco? What do you like to do to run around and
A lot
stay?
of sports, and I do baseball and soccer. So when the days I don't have that, usually I walk my dog with my mom for like 45 minutes. And then usually I do exercises with my dad, and also I play with my friends for like 3 hours.
Wow. Well, playing, that's right. Playing, that's what's important. If you can find something that you like to do and the time is just going by and you don't even realize it, that's the best exercise to play. And that's another lesson that the grown-ups can get from you guys. Because we forget how to play sometimes.
Yeah.
And playing it's good, And here it sounds like you guys are just really active. And you're thriving. You're eating this plant-based food. You don't look like you're you don't look like you're terribly thin and underweight. You look like you're healthy. So this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys, I'm just so impressed. You really have really
So much.
great answers. and Evelise, who's Sheriza's mom, she's behind the camera, and she must be smiling and saying, "Wow, these guys are doing a great job." Because I'm really impressed, and I think everybody's enjoying.
I also just want to add
Yeah.
one thing. I know you did do an introduction on me, but I did
Yeah.
have a PowerPoint if you want me to share it to you or something, where it just has a little bit more about me and my mom. So there's actually a slide on there about her company and everything. If you want me to
I'd love that. I would love for you to share that.
I
That
can
would be great.
screen share it right now if you want me to.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Let's see if we can get that to be screen shared while she works on that. I'm just so impressed with all three of them. And, I know Sheriza, she's been doing this with her mom as far as the recipe demos for quite a while. So she's very poised and very knowledgeable. And I think she's somebody that the younger people can look up to and know that this is just a lifestyle that can be really great for you, really. And I think with the younger people, they may not be so worried about health as much as they may be worried about the animals and maybe the planet. And these are really the Sheriza and Leah and Marco. They're just so inspirational. They're really great people to look up to and try to admire. How's it going over there with your screen share?
I can actually share it right now.
Okay.
It says that I don't have permission to share.
Okay. Well, let's just see. I think if you go on the bottom and there's something that you click on share, were you able to do that?
I hit it. Give me 1 sec.
Okay. You want to try it again?
Yeah, it just.
I can talk while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and if you guys have any more questions for any of them, that this would be an opportunity for you if you wanted to post another question. And what Sheriza was talking about is that she and her mom do a lot of different recipe demos for other people, and it's pretty cool. They have a company that talks about plant-based health and tries to educate people on how to adopt this lifestyle and live a healthy lifestyle. And it's very interesting because they've been plant-based. Well, Sheriza's been plant-based for her whole life. And so the fact that her mom, Evelise, who's with us today, she was behind the camera, that she has been able to help people learn about this lifestyle is pretty special. So any luck with that, Sheriza?
So I actually I can't do it right now just because it says you have to quit Chrome, but I can send it to you and you can.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I would love to have you back.
Yeah.
And you can come back, you maybe do another recipe demo, and then we'll have all those kinks worked out ahead of time because we have an engineer who's in the background and she is awesome and she knows how to do all these things. So we'll just maybe plan on you coming back and maybe we'll have Marco and Leah come back too if they're available, because we could be they don't have to be with you in order to be on, right? Isn't that great?
That'd be perfect, actually.
Okay. Well, you think about it, and we're gonna. I think everybody's excited to know that maybe you'll come back. I really wanted to thank you, Sheriza. I was so surprised that you brought on your two good friends with you. So I want to thank you, Sheriza, and I want to thank Marco and Leah. All of you. You were fabulous. You all did just a great job and answered the questions, and you did great recipe demo, and I'm really impressed. So really glad that you came on, and it was very nice to have you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I also wanted to tell you that we're going to have a special announcement coming up. But before that, I wanted to bring somebody who's in the background who's going to help us the next time these guys come on. And her name is Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. She's with PKA Solves, and she's been engineering the whole time, really being helpful to us. I also want to thank Jess from Jess Task Voice. She did the introduction and the countdown, and she's also does a promo too. And I wanted to thank all of you guys for being here too, because you're watching. That's why we're here. We're here because we want to spread the news of this lifestyle and how health promoting it can be. And it can also be health promoting for children as well. And you need to think about that when you're trying to adopt this lifestyle, and know that you can bring children on board, and they'll probably be better at accepting it than some of the grown-ups, and they can probably help you along the way. So don't be afraid to ask them to join you in this lifestyle. And please remember that with Sheriza and Marco and Leah, I'm going to be doing my tagline at the end, which was be strong, be well, and they're going to say be green with me. But you can type that in the comments, and this way you can be doing it with us. So before we sign off with that, Jess Task Voice, tell us who is coming up next.
Coming up next, Sandra Goodson McClanahan. Sandra confesses to once being a food addict. 3 years ago, she lost an amazing 107 pounds and fits into size 7 skinny jeans. Find out how Sandra lost the weight and kept it off. Monday, August 2nd, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Be Green with Amy, live.
Well, thanks again, everyone. And please type in the tagline so that you can join me, Sheriza, Marco, and Leah in saying, be strong, be well, and be
Green.
green. Bye-bye.
Bye.